A month had passed since the mysterious wooden box changed our lives forever. The 5 ordinary objects had each revealed an extraordinary story. Their lessons now filled the pages of the Book of Quiet Kindness. Every week, more people came to share stories about ordinary neighbors who quietly changed the world. One peaceful afternoon, Noah returned to Grandpa Richard's study. The room looked exactly the same. The silent pocket watch rested inside its glass case. The empty wooden box sat beside it. Neither seemed to hold any more secrets, or so I believed. While organizing Grandpa's desk, Noah unfolded the old hand-drawn map found inside the brass compass. He had studied it many times before. Small circles covered towns across the country. Beside each one, only a single word: teacher, doctor, volunteer, neighbor, friend, farmer. But this time, something was different. As sunlight passed through the window, a faint blue mark appeared near the edge of the paper. Noah leaned closer. It wasn't ink. It looked almost invisible, as if someone had wanted it to remain hidden until the right moment. He carefully turned the map sideways. A tiny handwritten note slowly appeared. Only 2 words: the gardener. No name, no address, no explanation. Just the gardener. Sarah looked over his shoulder. I've read this map at least 10 times. How did we miss that? Noah smiled. Maybe it wasn't meant to be found before now. In the bottom corner, another clue appeared. Not words, but tiny coordinates, written so lightly they almost disappeared into the paper. Ethan opened his laptop. After entering the numbers, a single location appeared. A small village, nearly 300 miles away, far from any city, far from everything. Lily quietly asked, "Do you think Grandpa knew someone there?" Noah folded the map carefully. "I think he wanted us to meet someone." The next morning, before sunrise, Noah packed the old map inside Grandpa Richard's leather satchel. He didn't take the wooden box. He didn't take the pocket watch. Only the map. Because this journey wasn't about the past anymore. It was about someone who might still be waiting. The road stretched through mountains, fields, and quiet country towns. Hour after hour, the scenery changed until paved roads became narrow dirt paths. Finally, a weathered wooden sign appeared. "Welcome to Willow Creek. Population." The village seemed untouched by time. Children rode bicycles along quiet streets. Neighbors waved from front porches. Flowers bloomed in every yard. Yet something felt unusual. Noah noticed almost every home had the same tree growing in the front garden. Tall, strong, covered in white blossoms. He stopped. Outside a small grocery store, an elderly shopkeeper was arranging baskets of fresh vegetables. Noah smiled politely. "Excuse me, I'm looking for someone." The old man nodded. "Who?" Noah unfolded Grandpa Richard's map, pointing gently to the faded blue words. "The gardener." The shopkeeper froze. For several seconds, he simply stared at the map. Then, a slow smile appeared. "I haven't heard anyone use that name in over 20 years. He looked toward a narrow road leading out of the village. "If you're searching for the gardener, follow the blossom trees. They'll take you exactly where you need to go." Noah thanked him. As he walked back toward the car, a soft breeze carried hundreds of white flower petals across the road. It almost felt as though someone was quietly welcoming him. None of us knew that beyond those blossom trees lived a man who had planted more hope than anyone would ever count. Noah slowly drove along the narrow country road. On both sides, rows of white blossom trees stretched toward the horizon. The branches swayed gently in the afternoon breeze. It felt less like a road and more like en invitation. Lily lowered the car window. Flower petals drifted inside. She smiled. I've never seen so many trees. In one place, the elderly shopkeeper's words echoed in Noah's mind. Follow the blossom trees. After nearly 20 minutes, the road ended. Ahead stood a weathered wooden gate. There was no house, no mailbox, only a small hand-painted sign. The garden belongs to everyone. Noah looked around. Thousands of trees covered the rolling hills. Apple trees, cherry trees, maple trees, oak trees, young saplings, growing beside ancient trunks. Everywhere, life. An elderly man knelt quietly, planting another tiny tree. His hands moved slowly, patiently, as though he had repeated the same simple act for an entire lifetime. Noah approached carefully. "Excuse me." The old man looked up. His bright blue eyes held a peaceful kindness. Before Noah could speak again, the old man smiled. "I've been expecting you." Noah stopped. "You know me?" The old man gently shook his head. "I know. Richard Carter's grandson." Lily's eyes widened. "How?" The old man stood, brushed the soil from his hands, then pointed toward Grandpa Richard's leather satchel he always carried. "That same bag." Noah smiled. "My grandfather helped you?" The old man laughed softly. "No, he reminded me why I started." They walked together through the orchard. Every few steps, a small wooden plaque stood beside a tree, but instead of names, each plaque carried a single sentence: for someone who needed hope, for a family beginning again, for a child who never stopped smiling. Not one plaque mentioned the gardener. Lily looked confused. "Why don't you put your own name on any tree?" The old man smiled. "If people remember who planted it, they sometimes forget why it was planted." Noah felt as though Grandpa Richard was speaking again. Different voice, same lesson. The gardener stopped beside the oldest tree in the orchard. Its trunk was wider than Noah's shoulders. Its branch covered almost the entire hill. He gently placed his hand against the bark. This was the first tree. Noah asked softly, "Who planted it?" The old man looked toward the sky. "Richard and I, together." Silence. Even the wind seemed to pause. It was after a terrible winter. The gardener continued. "A young couple lost their little daughter. Everyone brought flowers. They were beautiful. But a week later, they were gone." Richard came to me, holding a tiny apple sapling. He said, "Flowers comfort people for days. Trees comfort families for generations." So we planted it. No speeches, no photographs, no newspaper, just two friends and one tiny tree. Noah quietly touched the rough bark. It was impossible to imagine that such a massive tree had once fit inside Grandpa Richard's hands. As they continued walking, the gardener stopped in front of a small wooden shed. Inside, thousands of seed packets were carefully arranged, each handwritten, each labeled, not with tree names, but with emotions: hope, forgiveness, new beginnings, courage, home. Lily whispered, "These aren't names of trees." The old man smiled. "No, they're reasons. People plant them." Just as Noah looked around, his eyes caught an old black and white photograph hanging quietly on the shed wall. Richard Carter, the gardener, and a very young boy standing between them. The boy held a tiny shovel and smiled proudly. Noah frowned. "I know, Grandpa, but who is that little boy?" The gardener's gentle smile slowly faded. He looked at the photograph for a long moment, then whispered, "That's the reason. I've been waiting all these years for someone from the Carter family to finally come." The old gardener held the faded photograph with trembling hands for several moments. He said nothing. His eyes never left the smiling little boy standing between him and Grandpa Richard. Finally, he whispered. His name was Thomas. Noah looked again. The little boy couldn't have been more than 8 years old. He wore muddy boots, held a tiny shovel, and smiled, as though the world held nothing to fear. Lily asked softly, "Was he your grandson?" The old gardener slowly shook his head. "No, he wasn't family. He was my neighbor." The gardener invited us into the small wooden cottage beside the orchard. Inside, everything was simple. A stone fireplace, a wooden table, shelves filled with gardening books, and dozens of photographs of people planting trees. No awards, no certificates, no newspaper articles, only memories. He placed the photograph in the center of the table. Thomas loved trees. He believed every seed was a promise. Every Saturday, he came here to help me plant. He said, one day, this whole valley would become a forest. The gardener smiled. He worked harder than boys, twice his age. Then, his smile faded. One winter, Thomas became very sick. Doctors tried everything, but the illness was stronger. Within a few months, the little boy was gone. Silence filled the cottage. Only the soft crackling of the fireplace remained. Lily quietly wiped away a tear. "I'm sorry." The gardener nodded gently. So was Richard. Every evening, after Thomas passed, Richard came here. He never spoke much. He simply helped me plant one tree every sunset for 47 days. Noah whispered, 47? The gardener smiled. That was the number of Saturdays Thomas had spent in this orchard. Noah looked through the cottage window. Beyond the hills, 47 enormous trees stood in a perfect circle. Their branches touched one another, almost like they were protecting the center. "What is in the middle?" Noah asked. The gardener stood without answering. He simply smiled. "Come." Together, they walked toward the circle of trees. As they stepped inside, the sounds of birds became louder. The wind fed gentler. The air seemed different. At the very center stood a single wooden bench. Nothing more. No statue. No monument. No engraved names. Only one sentence, carved into the wood. "Sit here and listen to the trees." Noah sat quietly. At first, he heard nothing. Then, leaves rustling gently, birds singing overhead, children laughing somewhere far away. Life. The gardener smiled. Richard believed people don't always need someone to speak. Sometimes, they simply need a peaceful place to remember. Lily looked around. Did Thomas plant all these trees? The gardener nodded. He planted the first one. Richard and I planted the other 46. So Thomas would never be alone. Noah closed his eyes. He finally understood. Grandpa Richard never tried to erase grief. He simply made sure hope had somewhere to grow beside it. As they prepared to leave, the gardener reached beneath the wooden bench. He carefully pulled out a small metal box. Its paint had almost disappeared. He handed it to Noah. "I've protected this for nearly 40 years." Noah slowly opened it. Inside was a tiny cloth pouch and a folded letter. Across the front, written in Grandpa Richard's handwriting, were 6 simple words. "Open this under the old oak." Noah stared at the envelope. The old oak tree behind Grandpa Richard's farmhouse. Another journey was only beginning. The journey home felt different. Noah drove in silence. The small metal box rested carefully on the passenger seat. Inside, Grandpa Richard's sealed envelope waited patiently. Across the front, only 6 words. "Open this under the old oak." No one suggested opening it early. Not Lily, not Sarah, not even Ethan. After everything Grandpa Richard had taught them, they understood. Some messages only reveal their meaning when they are read in the right place. By sunset, they arrived at the Carter farmhouse. The familiar old oak tree stood proudly in the middle of the yard. Its branch were wider now, its trunk stronger than ever. Lily looked up. It feels like it's waiting. Noah smiled softly. I think it always has. The family carried 2 wooden chairs to the shade beneath the old tree. The evening breeze moved gently through the leaves. Birdsong slowly faded as the sun dropped behind the hills. Noah carefully removed the envelope. The paper had become fragile, but Grandpa Richard's handwriting remained beautifully clear. With steady hands, he opened it. Inside, there were only 2 things: one handwritten letter and a tiny acorn. Lily picked it up carefully. It's from this tree? Noah nodded. I think so. He unfolded the letter. Dear Noah, if you are reading this, then you have already met the gardener. His greatest gift was never the forest. It was teaching people that hope grows slowly, just like trees. When Thomas passed away, everyone asked what they could do to comfort his family. Most brought flowers. They were beautiful, but beauty sometimes fades too quickly. So we planted trees, not because trees erase grief, but because they remind us that life always chooses to grow again. Never rush someone's healing. Never measure someone's pain. Simply stay beside them long enough for hope to take root. If this old oak still stands, take 1 acorn. Plant it, not for someone who has died. Plant it for someone who is still living. One day, they will sit in its shadow and remember someone believed in their future. With love, Grandpa Richard. Noah lowered the letter. No one spoke. The little acorn rested quietly in Lily's hand. Such a small seed, yet somehow it felt heavier than gold. Sarah quietly whispered, Grandpa never waited for funerals to give people hope. The gardener's words returned to Noah's mind. Richard always planted trees while people were still alive. Now, he finally understood. Lily smiled. I know who should receive the first tree. The next morning, the family visited a small white house on the edge of town. An elderly widow, Mrs. Evelyn Brooks, opened the door. She had recently learned that she was seriously ill. She had stopped leaving her home, stopped gardening, stopped smiling. Noah didn't bring flowers. He didn't bring gifts. Instead, he held out the tiny acorn and a young oak sapling. They had grown overnight from the foundation's greenhouse. Mrs. Brooks looked puzzled. A tree? Lily nodded. It's not for remembering you. It's for growing with you. Tears filled the elderly woman's eyes. For the first time in many months, she smiled. Together, they planted the little oak in the corner of her garden. Before leaving, Mrs. Brooks placed her hand gently on the tiny tree. I hope I live long enough to sit beneath it. Noah smiled warmly. I think the tree is hoping exactly the same thing. As the family prepared to leave, Mrs. Brooks handed Noah a small envelope. I've been keeping this for years. It belongs to Richard. Across the front, in faded handwriting, only 5 words appeared. He helped me choose life. Noah looked at the envelope. Another story, another ordinary life, another quiet act of kindness, waiting to be remembered. The small envelope rested quietly in Noah's hands. Across the front, 5 faded words. He helped me choose life. Noah looked toward Mrs. Evelyn Brooks. She smiled gently. I've carried that letter for nearly 30 years. I think it's finally time for someone else to read it. They sat together on the wooden porch. The tiny oak sapling swayed softly. In the afternoon breeze, Lily remained silent. She sensed this wasn't just another story. It was someone's second chance. Noah carefully opened the fragile envelope. Inside, was a single handwritten letter, folded so many times that the paper had become almost transparent. Dear Evelyn, you told me that your life no longer mattered. I don't believe you, because I have watched the way children smile when they see you. I've seen neighbors leave your house feeling lighter than when they arrived. Sometimes we become so busy counting what we've lost that we forget to count the lives we've quietly lifted. Please, give tomorrow one more chance, then another, and another. One day, someone you have never met will be thankful that you stayed. Your friend, Richard Carter. Silence. Only birds could be heard. In the old oak tree, Mrs. Brooks slowly wiped away a tear. When Richard wrote this, my husband had just passed away. I had already packed my photographs, my clothes, my wedding ring. I believed there was no reason to keep living. Noah quietly asked. And then she smiled. Richard knocked on my front door. He didn't try to convince me. He simply sat beside me for almost 3 hours. We barely spoke. He only said, you don't have to decide about forever today. Just stay until tomorrow. Mrs. Brooks laughed softly. So I did. Then the next day, I stayed again, and somehow, tomorrow became 30 years. Lily looked toward the little oak tree. If Richard hadn't come, Mrs. Brooks gently shook her head. You wouldn't be sitting here, talking to me. Sarah quietly smiled. You know, Grandpa always believed, hope doesn't arrive as a miracle. It arrives as another person willing to stay. Mrs. Brooks stood slowly. Come with me. She led them into her home. The walls were covered with photographs, children, families, birthday parties, school graduations, Christmas dinners. Noah looked confused. I thought you didn't have children. Mrs. Brooks smiled. I don't. She pointed toward every photograph. They do. For the past 28 years, I've been the emergency foster mother for children who had nowhere else to go. Noah's eyes widened. How many? Mrs. Brooks looked upward, as if counting. 83. 83 children have called me Grandma Evelyn. Lily quietly whispered. Richard saved more than one life. Mrs. Brooks smiled. He saved 84. She gently placed her hand over her own heart. The first one was mine. As Noah looked across the photographs, he realized one letter, one afternoon, one friend who simply refused to leave had given dozens of children a loving home they never expected to find. Before Noah left, Mrs. Brooks handed him an old photograph. Richard stood beside her, surrounded by laughing children. Across the back, Richard had written, hope begins when someone stays. Noah carefully placed the photograph inside Grandpa's leather satchel. He looked toward the map. Only one blue mark remained unexplored, and somehow he knew the next person would reveal the final lesson Grandpa Richard had been carrying all along. Only one blue mark remained on Grandpa Richard's map. Noah carefully traced it with his finger. Unlike the others, there was no title, no name, no symbol, only a tiny drawing of a bridge. Sarah searched every old county map she could find. After nearly an hour, she finally looked up. I found it. It was an abandoned wooden bridge, deep inside Blackwood Forest, no longer used, no longer marked on modern maps. Lily looked surprised. Why would Grandpa mark a bridge? Noah folded the map. I don't think he marked the bridge. I think he marked someone who was there. The next morning, they left before sunrise. The forest road was narrow, covered with fallen leaves. Birdsong echoed through the towering pines. The deeper they traveled, the quieter the world became. Finally, the old bridge appeared. Its wooden planks had faded with time. Wildflowers grew Between the cracks, the river below flowed peacefully, as though it had been waiting. Near the bridge, an elderly man sat quietly, repairing a broken handrail. He worked alone, without signs, without payment, without anyone watching. Noah stepped forward. "Good morning," the old man smiled. "Morning. You still repair this bridge?" Noah asked. The man nodded. "Every spring and every autumn, but nobody uses it anymore." The old man laughed softly. "Not many, but someone always does." His answer sounded exactly like Grandpa Richard. Noah showed him the old hand-drawn map. The elderly man stared at it, his eyes slowly filled with tears. "I never thought I'd see this again. My name," he whispered, "is Benjamin Cole." Noah smiled. "My grandfather knew you." Benjamin nodded. "He knew why I stayed. Years ago, a terrible flood destroyed the main highway. For weeks, the only safe crossing was this little wooden bridge." Benjamin worked day and night, repairing broken boards, replacing beams, helping strangers cross. No newspaper came, no television cameras, no awards, only muddy boots and tired hands. When the flood ended, everyone forgot the bridge, but Benjamin never stopped returning, twice a year, for 40 years, just in case someone needed it again. Lily looked puzzled. "But if nobody comes, why keep fixing it?" Benjamin smiled, then pointed toward the river. "Hope isn't built the day people need it. It's built long before." Noah froze. Those words sounded exactly like Grandpa Richard. Benjamin opened an old wooden toolbox. Hidden beneath the hammers and nails was a small envelope. Its edges had turned yellow. Across the front, Richard had written, "For the man who never crossed alone." Benjamin carefully handed it to Noah. "I promised Richard I wouldn't read it," he said. One day, his grandson would arrive. Noah slowly unfolded the letter. "Dear Benjamin, most people think a bridge exists to connect two places. You taught me it also connects two people who may never meet again. Every board you repaired was an act of faith, because you believed someone you would never know would need your work. Someday, that kind of kindness never makes headlines, but it quietly holds the whole world together. Thank you for becoming the bridge long before anyone needed to cross." Richard Carter. Silence settled over the old bridge. Only the gentle sound of flowing water remained. Benjamin quietly smiled. "I always wondered if anyone remembered." Noah looked at him. "My grandfather did, and now, so will we." As they prepared to leave, Benjamin removed one weathered wooden plank from beneath the bridge. On its hidden underside, someone had carved 7 simple words. "Strong foundations are built before storms arrive." Noah gently touched the worn wood. He finally understood. Grandpa Richard had never searched for extraordinary people. He searched for ordinary people who quietly prepared hope before the world even realized it would need it. Benjamin carefully placed the old wooden plank back beneath the bridge. For a long moment, Noah simply stood, listening to the river. Every person Grandpa Richard had led him to shared one thing in common. None of them believed they had done anything extraordinary. Yet together, they had quietly changed thousands of lives. As Noah unfolded the map once more, he noticed something strange. The blue mark near the bridge had faded, but another mark had appeared, a tiny drawing of a bell. It hadn't been there before, or perhaps he had never noticed it. Sarah smiled. "Your grandfather still knows how to surprise us." The tiny symbol pointed toward a nearby mountain village, less than 30 miles away. By early afternoon, they arrived. The village was peaceful. Stone cottages lined the narrow streets. Children played without hurry. Old neighbors sat together, sharing stories on wooden benches Above the village stood a small chapel, simple, weathered. Its white bell tower could be seen from every corner of the valley. Just then, the bell rang. 1, 2, 3 gentle chimes. The sound was warm, comforting, almost like a familiar voice. Lily smiled. I've never heard a bell sound like that. An elderly woman who was sweeping the chapel steps looked toward them. You must be looking for Samuel's friend. Noah nodded. She smiled. Then you're looking for Father Thomas. She pointed toward the garden behind the chapel. There, an elderly priest knelt quietly, planting white lilies. His hands were covered in soil, just like the gardener's. Before Noah could introduce himself, the priest looked up and smiled warmly. So, Richard finally sent his grandson. Noah laughed softly. It seems everyone expected me, except me. Father Thomas invited them to sit beneath an old maple tree. Tea was served in simple clay cups. No one hurried. No one watched the clock. Noah unfolded Grandpa Richard's map. The priest's eyes rested on it. Then he nodded slowly. I wondered when this day would come. He disappeared into the chapel, returning moments later with an old bronze bell. It wasn't large, barely the size of 2 hands. Its surface was scratched, the handle smooth from years of use. On its side, tiny words had been engraved. Ring only for hope. Lily looked puzzled. What does that mean? Father Thomas smiled. For 35 years, this bell never announced a funeral, never called people to worship. It only rang when someone needed help. If a family lost their home, we rang the bell. If someone needed blood, we rang the bell. If an elderly neighbor had no food, we rang the bell. And every time the village came, Noah quietly asked, who thought of the idea? Father Thomas looked toward Grandpa Richard's map. Richard, he told me, church bells should never only gather people for prayer. They should also gather people for kindness. The priest smiled gently. I've rung this bell more than 900 times, and not once did the village fail to answer. Lily whispered, so the bell didn't call people to the church. Father Thomas nodded. It called the church to the people. Those words stayed with Noah long after the conversation ended. Before they left, Father Thomas handed Noah a folded letter. The paper was carefully preserved. Across the front, Grandpa Richard had written, for the one who never rang in vain. Noah slowly opened it. Inside, Richard had written, Dear Thomas, a bell cannot solve a single problem, but it can remind people that no one should carry their burdens alone. Every time you rang this bell, you gave someone the courage to ask for help, and every time the village answered, hope rang louder than fear. Thank you for teaching people that compassion always begins with someone willing to call. Richard Carter. As Noah gently folded the letter, the old bronze bell rang once more. Its sound rolled across the valley. Villagers stepped outside, not because there was danger, but because someone might need them. And Noah realized Grandpa Richard's greatest gift was never teaching people how to help. It was teaching them to notice when someone needed help before they ever had to ask. The bronze bell continued to echo across the quiet valley. Ona Biwan. Villagers walked toward the chapel, not because they were curious, not because they had been ordered, but because helping one another had become a habit. Noah stood quietly, watching them arrive. An elderly farmer carried fresh vegetables. A young mechanic brought his toolbox. 2 teenagers arrived with bottled water. No one asked, what happened? They simply asked, what do you need? Father Thomas smiled. Richard always believed a kind community doesn't wait for an emergency. It stays ready. Lily looked around. I wish every town was like this. The priest nodded gently. It can be. It only takes one person to ring the bell. The first time, as the villagers returned home, Father Thomas led Noah inside the small chapel. It was simple. Wooden pews, sunlight through stained glass, fresh flowers near the altar. Nothing extravagant, only peace. Near the front, one chair was different. Unlike the others, it remained empty. Year after year, Noah pointed toward it. Why doesn't anyone sit there? The priest smiled. That chair belongs to Richard. Noah looked surprised. But Grandpa never lived here. Father Thomas nodded. I know, but every spring and every autumn he visited, he always sat in that chair. Never in front, never in the center, always there. He said, if I ever stop, leaving one chair empty, I might forget to make room for the next person who needs hope. Noah slowly sat in Richard's old chair. The wood still felt smooth, as if someone had just stood up. Tucked beneath the seat, his fingers touched something. A small envelope, hidden carefully inside the wooden frame. Across the front, only 4 handwritten words. Leave one seat empty. With Father Thomas's permission, Noah opened it. Inside, Grandpa Richard had written, Dear friend, never fill every chair. Never plan every hour. Never close every door. Because someday, someone tired, someone lonely, or someone frightened will arrive unexpectedly. If your table is full, they'll leave. If your schedule is full, they'll remain alone. Always leave a little space for kindness. The greatest gifts rarely arrive by appointment. Richard Carter. Silence filled the chapel. Noah folded the letter carefully. He finally understood. Grandpa Richard's life wasn't built on grand gestures. It was built on leaving room for people before they left. Father Thomas walked to the old bronze bell. He untied a small white ribbon wrapped around its handle. This, he whispered, belongs to you now. Lily looked confused. A ribbon? Father Thomas smiled. It isn't decoration. Richard tied this the day we rang the bell for the very first time. He said, as long as this ribbon remains, we'll remember why we ring it. Noah carefully accepted the ribbon, not as a souvenir, but as a promise. As they walked back toward the car, Lily noticed one final mark appearing on Grandpa Richard's map. Not a tree, not a bridge, not a bell, only a tiny drawing of a house. Beside it, for the first time, there was a name, home. Noah looked at the map, then toward the Carter farmhouse, waiting in the distance. For the first time, he realized the final destination had never been somewhere else. It had always been home. The road home felt quieter than ever. Noah held Grandpa Richard's map on his lap. Every blue mark had now disappeared. The gardener, the bridge, the bell, each journey had ended. Yet somehow, it didn't feel like the end. As the Carter farmhouse came into view, the evening sun painted the old oak tree in golden light. For a moment, Noah remembered the first day he had opened Grandpa Richard's pocket watch. Back then, he thought he had inherited a mystery. Now he understood. He had inherited a mission. Lily quietly smiled. The map has no more places. Noah looked at it, then gently shook his head. I think it does. Inside Grandpa Richard's study, everything remained exactly where it belonged. The silent pocket watch, the empty wooden box, the old compass, the book of quiet kindness, and now, the hand-drawn map. Noah carefully placed the map inside a simple wooden frame. Below it, he added a small brass plaque. It read, Every journey ends where another one begins. That weekend, something unexpected happened. People started arriving at the Carter farmhouse, not because they had received invitations, but because they had heard about the stories. A schoolteacher came carrying an old attendance book. She wanted to tell the story of a janitor who secretly bought school supplies for children every year. A retired bus driver brought a worn leather cap. He spoke about a mechanic who repaired bicycles for neighborhood kids without charging a single coin. A young woman carried a faded recipe book. It belonged to her grandmother, who cooked dinner for lonely neighbors every Sunday. For over 40 years, Noah realized the map had never been about locations. It had been teaching people how to notice. Within months, the Book of Quiet Kindness grew from 1 volume to 5, then 10, then 20. Every page held the story of someone who never expected to be remembered. Children began visiting the farmhouse. Schools organized trips. Families sat together, reading stories aloud. Many left with tears. Most left determined to write a new story of their own. One autumn afternoon, Lily quietly asked, "Do you think Grandpa Richard expected all this?" Noah smiled, looking toward the old oak tree. "No, I think he expected something even bigger." "What?" Lily asked. Noah looked at the growing shelves filled with stories, then toward the open front door, where another family had just arrived. He answered softly. He hoped one day the map would no longer need to exist, because people would begin finding kindness without being told where to look. That evening, Noah returned to Grandpa Richard's study. He picked up the old pocket watch. For years, its hands had never moved. Yet this time, as moonlight filled the room, a faint sound broke the silence. Tick, a pause. Then, tick, one gentle beat. Then another. Not because time had started again, but because the legacy had found its next keeper. Noah smiled. He carefully closed the pocket watch, placed it beside the framed map, and quietly whispered, "Thank you, Grandpa." Final message. The world doesn't change because one extraordinary person appears. It changes because ordinary people quietly choose kindness. Again and again, every tree planted, every bridge repaired, every bell rung, every chair left empty, every story remembered, becomes a path leading someone else back home.